Mets hitting .252, 8 home runs. And the first pitch by Al Nipper is outside for ball 1. Carter has not had a home run in 86 days.
Well, a day like today would be the type of day that he'd be able to get it. If he gets one up in the air to left field, it's going to be number 300.
1 ball, 1 strike to Carter. And it's 2-1. Chuck Klein got his 300th home run, but it took him 128 days to get it. He was stuck on 299 for 128 days, so there was a good pitch to hit out of the park.
When Gary comes up, that's how he's been going. The wind changes. It'll probably go back to left when he's through.
Klein's last home run after, there it is in the air. Will it go? It is going, and it is gone. Goodbye. 300th home run, finally.
Maybe that wind hadn't changed after all. He joins 58 other players who have hit 300 home runs. It's over. The anvil is off the shoulders. That's what that meant. And he might have a chance to get the ball back because here the bleacher bumps throw the ball back and they threw it back.
Oh, that's great for Carter.
Bill Robinson retrieving it. He doesn't care why what the reason is. He just wants the ball back.
Here the bleacher bums refuse to keep the ball if the opposing team hits a home run. And a fellow the other night, when Dykstra hit a home run for the first home run hit at night, threw the ball back in. And they had a story about the fact that he's sorry he did when he realized how much that ball would be worth. So
now we can go about our business.
Go back to baseball. And the first pitch to Howard Johnson, a strike, and this pitch back a ball, 1 ball, 1 strike.
You know, Jeff Mitchell showed us the flags that had turned around toward right field, but that's just another idea of how unpredictable that wind is. And Gary is saying, all right, the heat's up, and here's another one.
Deep to right center field, Webster over there, and he hauls it in. So the Mets putting those outfielders back to the ivy. McReynolds first, then the home run by Carter, and now Johnson out to center field.
It's a baseball adage to play the big guys deep and the little guys shallow. Well, today's different. You play everybody deep. As you take another look at Gary Carter's 300th home run. Howard Johnson just missing one.
That is his first home run against the Cubs this year. And it put the Mets up 1-0, and the batter now is Kevin Elster.
Ralph, I have a feeling there are going to be some more home runs hit in this game.
It's one of those days, hot and humid and the wind blowing out. Elster hitting .218 for the year with 7 home runs, and this ball hit in the air. Nipper is throwing a lot of fly balls, and that's not good in this ballpark. This one caught 2 men away. That'll bring up Doc Gooden. Gooden hitting .203. He has 1 home run, 9 runs batted in. He has 13.
So there's my dad right there in the adjoining booth. His first time at Wrigley Field. Thanks a lot, guys. Well, I guess you could say, how do you spell relief if you're Gary Carter? Well, H-O-M-E-R-U-N. It's that simple. A relieved man behind the plate. Here's Andre Dawson, who lifts one toward right. Strawberry glasses down. And he can't make the play, and it's a fair ball. Dawson's going to go to third base. It's going to be a triple, and we had mentioned that Sunfield and right field. Well, Dawson wasn't running all the way.
He never left home plate. He thought the ball was foul. He was standing there. The wind blew it back from into the stands onto the playing field. Strawberry couldn't pick it up, and he ends up with a 3-base hit. Now, he doesn't even leave the batter's box. Watch this. He stands right there watching it. He thinks it's out of the ballpark in foul territory. Strawberry with the glasses down can't find it. And it drops in fair. Now Dawson takes off. And by the time Strawberry can corral it, he ends up at third base.
Here's Rafael Palmeiro sporting a 19-game hitting streak, and he takes a curveball for a strike. Obviously, the infield back with the Mets on top, 1-0. Stick around, folks. We're going to turn cocktails into dinner in New York City. It's going to be a long game. Breaking ball hit up the middle. 20 games for Palmeiro. 1-1.
Well, Palmeiro, who hit a home run off Dwight Gooden in his first appearance against Gooden, singles to extend his hitting streak to 20 consecutive games. The longest streak previous to that, 21 by Lenny Randall, who once played for the Cubs. And the Cubs' record is 28, held by Ron Santo. And he drives in the tying run.
National League high this year, John Shelby of the Dodgers hitting 24 earlier in the year. 1 out.
Well, Keith gets his first hit in this series. He had been 0 for 6, and it comes on a 3-2 pitch with a runner going. And this is what would be technically known as a run and hit play, not a hit and run play. Of course, the hit and run play is a misnomer, but it's been called that ever since it was first thought of by whoever thought of it, probably back in 1860. We don't know at this moment.
Oh, a great line. The curveball ripped foul by Strawberry. The most dangerous hitter in either lineup, Darryl Strawberry, especially on a day like today. He has such awesome lift with his swing. First and third, 1 out, 2-1 Chicago, top of the third inning.
Darryl was walked intentionally his first time up, but now he gets a shot with runners on.
Tapper right side. Booted by Sandberg, and what an unusual error for Ryne Sandberg. 2-2 as Backman scores.
Well, that is something you don't get a chance to see very often. Sandberg leading the league in fielding. He has the all-time high for fielding percentage among second basemen. And Sandberg right here makes an error on a ground ball. And Sandberg, with his 6th error of the year, he has gone a whole long time without making an error on a throw, 180 games.
He had only one sure out. That was probably to first base since he was so close to first. And Hernandez with a good jump. Here's Kevin McReynolds. He flied deep to center. His first at bat, and takes a slider for a strike, 0-1.
Darryl gets a run batted in. He has been having trouble with runners in scoring position. That's his 30th run batted in with a runner in scoring position, runner at third base.
Gives him 76 on the year. He's third in the National League in RBIs. Outside, ball 1. 1-1 to McReynolds. The one thing that you will see with Hernandez in the lineup, you will see the Mets with more first and third situations. Little looper left field is going to drop. Hernandez trying to score, booted by Palmeiro. He's going to throw behind Strawberry, and Strawberry with a base-running blunder. He's going to be run back to second. Was he safe, or did he go out of the line? Safe at third. No, out at third. What a goofy ball game this is. We've had interference, a caught stealing after the interference, a misjudged fly and right that turned into a triple by somebody who didn't run, a botched up squeeze, and now base running error.
This is a big mistake by Darryl Strawberry. Ball booted out there. Darryl rounding second. Keith easily scores. And Darryl now trapped between second and third. Sandberg throws over to Law, and Law gets him. He'll get you every time.
He fought the Law, and the Law won. So it's no error given on the play. McReynolds advancing on the rundown play. They're now 2 outs, and for McReynolds, RBI number 66 on the year. Steve Zabriskie just handed me a note that you'll love to read.
The long arm of the Law got him.
Oh, that's great. Sizzling today. The 0-1 to Carter, who had his 300th home run back in the 2nd inning. 3-2 now. Mets on top. Grounder toward third. Law will go to first to get Carter. But the Mets score a couple of times on 3 hits. 1 error. And there was 1 left. After 2.5, it is 3-2 New York. We're back after this from Nissan.
25 at bats between 299 and 300.
Steps out. It was only Gary's 9th home run of the year, and he had 7 on April 26th. So the Mets hoping that Gary can get as hot with the home run bat as he was cold. Terry Leach now resuming warming up. All you have to do is shake hands on a day like today. 83 at game time, a 13-mile-an-hour wind, and we are surprised that the pitchers have tamed the opposition for the last 2 innings. All the scoring in the 2nd and 3rd for both teams. Grounder, good play, Law. 1 out. Ball 1.
Johnson has only had 10 hits in his last 73 at bats. It is turning into a slump of major proportion.
Into the game batting only .227. He's 6th in home runs with 20, however, and the breaking ball is low, 2-0. It's not the outs that he's been making. That is, it's how he's been making the outs. Pop-ups and fly balls. I don't have a number, but the majority of those outs that he made are either strikeouts or pop-ups, and here's another one. Which means that he's hitting the bottom half of the ball, and Ted Williams, with that uppercut teaching of his, there could be an argument against Ted Williams' theory when you consider Howard Johnson, who best exemplifies that uppercut stroke, and there it is.
There it is, swinging up at the ball. It's hard to hit the... Ted's theory, of course, is that the ball is coming down and that you should swing a little up in order to meet it on a square plane. The problem is you're going to hit under the ball more often than not when you have an exaggerated swing like that.
Also, one of the problems is all pitches aren't down. If the ball's going down, you adjust to swing up. Elster 1 for 2, ball 1 to Kevin. 2 outs here in the 6th, 6-1. Chicago. Nipper, with a variety of off-speed pitches, has dazzled the Mets for the most part. You give up only 3 runs in 5 2/3 with the wind blowing out. Ball for a strike, a ball and 2 strikes to Elster. Fouled away. Nipper started and lost Game 4 of the series in 1986. If you remember, the Mets lost the first 2 games at Shea, and then they go to Fenway and win 2. And then Bruce Hurst won Game 5, and everybody remembers Game 6. Red Sox 1 strike away, and 2 runs ahead at the time. They were 1 strike away from winning the World Championship. First time since 1918.
One of the most ironic things was that in the American League Championship Series, they were 1 strike away from elimination against the California Angels.
Dave Henderson, the 2-run homer. Hit another 2-run homer earlier in the game that he knocked out with his glove.
That's right.
We had 2 2-run homers.
He hit somebody else's 2-run homer. Hits it over the fence.
Mackey Sasser will be the hitter for Gooden. And he will be the hitter for Gooden as Elster collects his 2nd hit. So Sasser will be the pinch hitter for Dwight Gooden. Gooden went 5 innings, giving up 6 earned runs, and he trails 6-3. The only way he can win this game is if the Mets rally with 2 outs and score at least 4 runs here in the 6th.
Mackey, as you see, hitting .241 as a pinch hitter. He has had 3 hits and 16 times up, and he's driven in 3 runs with his 3 pinch hits.
Good play by Berryhill to dig it out. Ball and no strikes to Sasser. 6-3 Cubs here in the 6th inning. 2 outs and Elster at first. Mark Grace, the first baseman, playing behind Kevin. Wide, ball 2. Berryhill wants to talk. Palazzo yelling at Sasser. He may be giving him the take sign. You saw him flash that 1 finger.
Take 1.
Yeah.
And he's trying to do it unobtrusively. Well, Nipper and Berryhill are engaged in their little conversation.
There's a strike on the corner. Sasser taking all the way. All of our viewers and the Cubs and everybody knew the take was on. Sometimes that's the best way to give it. Just let the pitcher know it. When you're trying that hard, sometimes you can't throw a strike.
Start aiming the ball.
Frank DePino is now up and throwing for the Cubs. Grounder, speared by Grace. And he makes the play unassisted. No runs, a hit, 1 left. After 5 1/2, it's 6-3 Chicago. We're back after this from Budweiser.
Dawson back, and it is gone goodbye. So Dykstra gets his 2nd home run of the series, and the Mets pick up a run as they bat here in the 7th inning.
Dykstra flirted with one to right field in the 3rd inning that Dawson caught on the warning track in just about the same spot. Lenny gets it out for home run number 5 to make it a 6-4 Chicago lead.
And Davis out to the mound as you look at it sail out of the ballpark. Home run number 103 for the New York Mets. They lead the National League in that department. So the Mets close to within 2 as Nipper gives up his 2nd home run.
Leach did a fine job pitching 3 innings of scoreless relief to give the Mets a shot to come back and win this game.
Mets have won 15 games this year in their last at bat.
Davey may not be looking at his best team, but he may be looking at his most frustrating team. Fastball right in there. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Elster. Two and two. Mets trying to get a couple on. Down by 2. Sharply hit and a base hit into center field as Salazar can't get to it. So Elster, with his 3rd straight hit, leads off the night.
So the Mets have the time run at the plate as Elster comes up with his 3rd hit in this game. He'd had only 4 prior to this.
First hit off to Pino, who had retired 6 in a row.
And the Mets happy about the fact Elster is trying to hit the ball up the middle. All 3 of his hits have been to center or right center.
It's working today. Here's Mookie Wilson hitting .247, 4 homers and 21 RBIs. Pinch hitting for Terry Leach. Fouled off, strike 1. DePino going after save number 6 in relief of Al Nipper, who went 6+ innings. Line drive, base hit right field. Elster's going to go to 3rd. The throw from Dawson is cut off, and the Mets have runners at 1st and 3rd with nobody out. Mookie Wilson comes through with a pinch hit, base hit, and the Mets have the tying runs aboard.
Well, Mookie slices off the fastball into right field. There's not going to be a play at 3rd. Dawson has to throw to 2nd to keep the tying run at 1st. But in spite of that, Elster is being given the get-down slide, sliding into 3rd base. Makes a belly slide in there to get in safely.
Well, nobody was taking anything for granted, and here comes Don Zimmer again. He has Gossage ready in the bullpen. He also has Pat Perry, and it's Pat Perry that he wants. Terry Field, that was in the 7th inning, and he's 1 for 4 on the day. And he fouls it off, strike 1. Mookie blowing away to Dykstra. Base hit, Elster scores. Wilson stops at 2nd, and it's a 1-run ball game, 6-5. Chicago leading. Dykstra with his 2nd RBI of the day.
Well, the Mets now with 3 consecutive base hits. And Dykstra fights off the fastball, slices it into left field. Palmeiro gets it back in, and Wilson has to hold at 2nd, but he represents the tying run at 2nd with no one out.
The run is charged to Frank DePino, and here's Tim Tuffle, who struck. Cubs looking for the bunt, popped up, Grace makes the play. We're right back to the little things that the Mets seem unable to do.
Well, it's caught in a good play by Grace, but a bad execution act by Tuffle. In a position to move the runners into scoring position for the big guns, Hernandez and Strawberry.
1-2 Once again, New York fails to advance base runners, and we'll see if it costs them with Keith Hernandez 1 for 4 up to face Pat Perry. Runners at first and second now with 1 out. Be out of play down the left field side for strike 1. Good speed on the bases for New York with Wilson at second and Dykstra at first. Hernandez asking for time. Throw to third. Not in time. Wilson steals third. Dykstra second right behind him. So Davy Johnson says if we can't bunt him over, we'll double steal.
At the pitch, a fastball, and Wilson slides off the bag, but just does get the toe back on as Law tries to make the tag. Charlie Williams, the umpire, third, making the safe call. And he was safe.
Boy, Mookie hanging on by the toe of the spike there.
Toenail.
Now the Cub infield comes in all the way around.
I'm amazed at this. The winning run is at second base.
1 run, well, rather 1 ball, 1 strike to Hernandez. Inside with a fastball. 2-1.
Seldom see a manager play the infield in when you have the time run at third and the go-ahead run at second in the 9th inning. They're gambling that they'll get a ground ball and that Hernandez won't come through with a base hit. And you are about 100% better as a hitter with the infield in.
Well, Don Zimmer's done some unorthodox things. His book reads a little differently than many other managers. Hernandez holds up. It's high. 3-1. It almost hits Keith, and it's ball 4. So the bases will be loaded for Darryl Strawberry.
Well, Strawberry, a big chance here to redeem himself. Zimmer has said he would not want to pitch to Strawberry in any game situation, and this is definitely a game situation set up by the walk to Keith Hernandez. The bases are loaded.
Zimmer and Joe Altobelli discussing the defensive alignment. Mets down by 1, and here's Darryl. Fouled off out of play for strike 1. Strawberry just 3 hits in his last 33 at-bats. He is 0 for 2 plus a walk and was hit by a pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. Of home plate umpire Joe West, and the count 1-2. Two balls, 2 strikes. Well, they may only be about 32,000, but they can sound like 52,000 here at Wrigley. Cubs leading 6-5. center field. Webster going back. Grand slam home run. Kevin McReynolds. One of the hottest batters around right now. His 17th home run of the year, and what a big one it is.
Got a high fastball, and he got it up into the prevailing wind out towards center field. And McReynolds, whose last home run was against the Pirates, and Draybeck, a grand slammer, and that is his second on this trip. No, not on this trip. Second going back to June.
You saw Davy Johnson's reaction. Look at Don Zimmer's reaction. Gary Carter with a pop-up into short left field. Salazar back. And Palmeiro can't make the play over the mound. A bit of an obstacle in foul territory, and Rafael unable. There's Terry. Out of Selma, Alabama. What a story he is with a career. He started in Class A ball in 1976. Base hit right field. Webster going to hold at second. He makes the big turn, but with the Cubs down by 3, wisely holding. And Mark Grace with his third hit of the day.
And he brings up the tying run, and the tying run represented by Andre Dawson. Grace continuing to wear out the Mets. He had 6 hits in this 3-game series. And now the very dangerous Andre Dawson, who leads the league in hitting, and he leads his club in home runs. And we're going to see a pitching change. They'll bring in the right-hander, Roger McDowell, to pitch to Andre Dawson.
McDowell less likely to give up the long ball. Andre Dawson representing the tying run. He has tripled and scored 2 runs in 4 official at-bats. He takes a strike.
And he has been a hot batter.
He started the day leading the National League in hitting at .318, and he did that by hitting .426 over his previous 17 games. He has been on fire. 2 out, bottom of the 9th. And 2 on for Chicago. Dawson holds up. 1 ball, 1 strike.
McDowell has given up only 1 home run this year. Of course, a home run would tie it.
And the wind is blowing out. New York with 5 in the top of the 9th, including a grand slam from Kevin McReynolds to lead 9-6. A strike on the outside corner. 1 ball, 2 strikes, and Dawson with a couple of words for Joe West behind the plate. You can see that McDowell has been stingy. But the pennants and the flag are blowing almost directly out to center field. 1-2 to Dawson. Ground ball, McDowell has it, and the ball game should be over. The Mets win the final game of the series, and they do it in dramatic fashion. As Kevin McReynolds' 9th inning grand slam home run gives Terry Leach the win, as Leach pitched 3 scoreless innings of relief of Dwight Gooden, and Terry 5-1 on the year for his career is now 22-8. Roger McDowell gets save number 12 as he retires Andre Dawson with 2 out in the 9th. Ralph and I'll be back to wrap it up from Wrigley as the Mets get ready to host Montreal over the weekend in New York. New York wins it 9-6, and we're back after this for Budweiser.
Yeah, he'd done recreations, he'd done some minor league games, and of course he had also done some of the games of the week. But you're absolutely right, his football reputation was the strongest, and what really went into bringing Lindsey into the job was they felt he would be a successful baseball announcer, but foremost, they wanted somebody with a national reputation in broadcasting, and Lindsey was known all over the country for his football work.
And you had done the Boston Red Sox games and also the Baltimore Orioles games and took on the New York Mets. And I was brought into the picture, and I had done 1 year doing radio with Bob Elson in Chicago.
Yeah, they wanted three things. They wanted a national personality, that was Lindsey, somebody who had done day-by-day baseball. I had done that in Boston with Curt Gowdy, then had my own team in Baltimore. And they wanted a National League star, and if they could find a National League star with broadcasting experience, that was exactly what they wanted, and that was Ralph Kiner.
Well, we all got there, and we stayed there for 17 years.
Rod Kinneal at third. Brown Hunt at second. A count of 2-2 to Snyder. And he throws this one deep to right, going. It's a home run. The Mets win by a score of 3-2. The Mets win it 3-2 on Snyder's home run into the upper deck in right field. Hey, listen to that crowd.
We'll be back to talk a little bit more about Lindsey Nelson with Bob Murphy in just a moment right after this message.
And I had a previous arrangement that at the end of every 3 innings, we would switch. I would go from radio to TV, and he would go to radio. So we just wave at each other in the hallway, crossing every 3 innings, and that continued. The game went on for 23 innings. And you know, of all the games the Mets have ever played, until the 16-inning game in Houston, that was the most memorable game I had ever participated in.
It was very interesting because at one time I was coming back upstairs, and there's a 4 stories difference in where the broadcasting was taking place, to come up and help you guys out. And that was when there was a triple play, and I had to come back down because it looked like the game was going to go over.
That was the 14th inning. The bases were loaded, nobody out. Larry Bernarth was on the mound. Casey went out to the mound. Bernarth said, I knew he was going to take me out, but he didn't. All Casey did was go out there and say, tra-la, tra-la, tra-la. And the hitter is Orlando Cepeda. He threw 1 pitch. Cepeda hit a line drive to Roy McMillan, and it was a triple play. Bernard said, I walked back to the dugout, and Casey Stengel said, tra-la, tra-la, tra-la. That's what I wanted, a triple play.
And also, Casey used to say about Lindsey Nelson and Bob Murphy and me that we were his broadcasters because he had a hard time remembering the names of the broadcasters.
Casey was wonderful. Sometimes he wouldn't remember our names. But the one thing Casey could always do, he could always remember something about the person so they'd know exactly he knew who he was.
Let's talk about a few of the fellas you have. Well, I would. I'd like to talk to them because you ought to start at the catching department and go out. More, they have to stop the ball or you'll have all wild pitches. And if you get down to second base and shortstop, you have to have a double play combination. And if you get out to center field, you have to have a man that's established to know how to go and catch the fly ball.
Ralph, I remember about Houston, too. The Astrodome was where Lindsey Nelson got in the gondola, and the gondola then was raised to the very top of the Astrodome. He had a microphone with him. He was going to broadcast a couple of innings from the very top of the dome, and we thought, what a magnificent feat he's doing. What a marvelous thing. What courage. What a brave guy. Then we realized that the poor engineer, the radio engineer, had to climb up a ladder, go across a catwalk with all that heavy equipment to get there to make it possible.
And he got up there, and Lindsey also did a broadcast that was thought of from a balloon, a dirigible that was flying outside of Shea Stadium. So Lindsey Nelson going into the Hall of Fame has some experiences that he could talk about for a long time.
Ground ball is short. This could be it. There's one. There's two. The game is over. The Mets are a champion. At 9:07 on September 24th, the Mets have won the championship of the Eastern Division of the National League. Look at that scene. They can't hold the fans. The Mets are being swamped. Doug McGraw gets the fan, goes into the motion. Here's the 2-strike pitch. Swung on, hit on the ground toward first. Milner has the ball. Hits to McGraw. It's over. The New York Mets have won the pennant. The New York Mets have won the pennant. The New York Mets have won the pennant, and this is a wild scene.
And we'll be back with more on Lindsey Nelson going into the Hall of Fame of Broadcasters at Cooperstown in just a moment, right after this message.
20 games in 1 year, but he was still around when that same team, a same New York Mets team, won over 100 games in a World Series.
And it all started, of course, with Casey Stengel, and there were some great players in those early days. Roger Craig and Richie Ashburn. Ashburn hit 300 that first year.
Richie hit 300 in the final year in baseball. He thought he was going to be in politics after that. He wound up in broadcasting.
And there were many, many other great stars who have this to say about Lindsey Nelson.
The things that I remember about Lindsey Nelson, my years here with the New York Mets, which were great years, Lindsey was a big part of it. He was one of the most positive persons I ever met in my life, and he never said anything negative about the ball players, and we all loved and respected him.
Lindsey, Rich Ashburn here, and I want to congratulate you for being elected to the Hall of Fame. It's nice to know that two members of that 1962 Mets team are in the Hall of Fame, you and Casey Stengel. I think Casey got it for what he did before he got to the Mets, but that Mets team, of course, lost 120 games, and having been a broadcaster now for 26 years, I know how important it is to get a team that can win a ball game once in a while.
I want to congratulate you, Lindsey Nelson, for being elected in the Hall of Fame. One thing I do miss is your sport jackets. I wish you were still back up here.
Well, I have fond memories of Lindsey. I remember watching him for years and years before I ever came to New York. He was the voice of the Cotton Bowl here in Texas. And then when I got the opportunity to meet Lindsey, I realized his trademark was his loud jackets.
I remember Lindsey in the hotel lobbies, and the reason I remembered Lindsey in the hotel lobbies is because his sports coach reminded me of the drapes in the hotel. And I think maybe there was some drapes missing over the years in the hotels.
And we'll be back with the scores of the other games in the major leagues right after this message.
Socking the ball, knocking those home runs over the wall. East side, west side, everybody's coming down to meet the METS Mets from New York town. Oh, the butcher and the baker and the people on the streets, where do they go? To meet the Mets! Oh, they're hollering and cheering and they're jumping in their seats. Where do they go? To meet the Mets! All the fans are true to the orange and blue, so hurry up and come on down, 'cause we got ourselves a ball club, the Mets of New York town. Give 'em a yell! Give 'em a hand! And let 'em know you're rooting in the stand!
Lindsey, this is Vin Scully, and first of all, heartiest congratulations to you on your entrance to the Hall of Fame. And I'm sure you're wondering what it would be like, and since I went through it a few years ago, and the memory still lingers with me and will stay, I'm sure, for the remainder of my life, I thought I might give you, in a sense, I guess, some advance warning. First of all, before the ceremonies, you will be in a room, and everyone in that room will be a Hall of Fame player. This is an incredible, overwhelming feeling because, in a sense, so many of these players who are gathered together are bits and pieces of your life. And I think the very first feeling I had as I sat there and I looked at the Bill Terrys and the other names that were so close to my growing up in New York, I realized I was looking at my own mortality. Then, of course, they call Cooperstown baseball's shrine. And shrine, by the very meaning of the word, means something sacred. And you'll get the feeling that this is a special, even a sacred moment in your life. And then finally the moment comes where you're out on the porch and the hundreds and thousands of people are there, and the time comes for you to accept. Now, it's one thing to be a ball player. You can get emotional, you can break down and cry, and everyone will say, how wonderful, how wonderful. But as you sit there and you begin to feel the emotion overcoming you, you have to say to yourself, wait a minute, I'm a professional announcer. I'm going in not as a center fielder or a pitcher from Oklahoma or what have you. I'm going in as an announcer, a man who is supposed to be able to speak on his feet and to accept pressure and thrive under it. And that's going to be quite a battle, because when you finally get up, you look at the people and you realize where you are and what it means. It's the culmination of all the efforts that you have put into the job. It's very hard not to cry. And I was lucky because I had my thoughts pretty well in order. I never wrote my speech, but I had the thoughts in order. And I began, and you'll probably wind up asking yourself the same question. I began, why me? I guarantee you sometime during that day, knowing you as well as I do, you'll say, why me? Well, I'll tell you why, because you deserve it. Much love.
Well, I want to thank Bob Murphy for being with us on this very special day for Lindsey Nelson, and Lindsey going into that Hall of Fame, and Bob, you belong there too.
Well, that's good of you, Ralph. Thank you for letting me join you here today. And again, congratulations to that witty and debonair guy from Knoxville, Tennessee.
But those
who
terrible
deserves to go in there. Worst sport coach in the world. Buddy Harrelson said, I've seen it before. Last summer it was my awning. But he deserves to be there. Nice going, Lindsey.
And don't forget our next broadcast on Mets baseball on WWOR-TV will be Wednesday at 7:30 when the Mets take on the Chicago Cubs.
Diners Corner has been brought to you by Budweiser. Each